Hey guys, it's Ellen, and today I'm going to be sharing with you some of my recently read books and the ones that I am currently reading right now, which actually is a lot of books. I need to really get through those because I have a lot on my currently reading shelf. So let's just jump into it. If you saw my last video, you know that I was reading this one here by Joyce Carol Oates. It's called Wonderland, the Wonderland Quartet. I think actually it came originally out in 4 stories. 4 separate books, and this is the bind-up of all of them. This one took me a long time to read, actually. I finished it yesterday, so I read it for maybe more than a month. It's definitely a slow-burning book, but I really liked it, and the characters are so just interesting and intricate, and I just found that really enjoyable. There's actually an afterword in here from Joyce Carol Oates about how she was very uncomfortable when she was writing it. These stories were just inside of her, and she needed to get them out, but it was a really, it was a hard process for her to write this story because it is so disturbing, and maybe it's not as disturbing as, say, A Clockwork Orange, but just more like subtly, these characters aren't quite, like, healthy in the head, and, oh gosh, it's just... I don't know, it just was really interesting to me. Her writing is absolutely beautiful. I really want to pick up more books by her. I actually think the next one by her that I'm going to read is Because It Is Bitter and Because It Is My Heart, which is right here. So I'm excited to read that one. Yeah, this was definitely really interesting. A slow-burning, slow-to-read book, but it was perfect for throwing in my bag and just reading a couple pages over my lunch break and all those sorts of things. So I'm really glad I read this. I gave this one a 4 out of 5 stars. The next book was definitely not a slow read, and this one, again, I mentioned in my last video, too, that I was reading it, and I did finish it, and this is A Darker Shade of Magic by V.E. Schwab, and like I said before, this is actually this is my favorite book that I've read of V.E. Schwab's. Vicious is a close second, but this is definitely my favorite, and I'm really excited to read the rest in the series that are coming out, some of them are out, so... this was just so interesting. I thought the magic system and the worlds and how you travel between the worlds was really fleshed out really well. The characters were so interesting and lovable and relatable. It was just, and I just flew through in, you know, terms of how well I've been reading. This is the fastest I've gotten through a book in a long time, which is saying something. So this, I mean, it still took me a while, but I finished it and I loved it, and I can't wait to read the next one. In terms of books that I am currently reading, this is another one that I mentioned in my last video, A Court of Thorns and Roses. This one, I said in my video that I was probably going to jump in and fly right through it, but surprisingly, that's really not been the case. This series I don't like as much as the Throne of Glass series. I'm just going to come out and say it. Throne of Glass is my absolute favorite series by Sarah J. Maas, and this series is good and it's interesting. I liked the first book, but I mean, come on. This is huge, and nothing has really happened yet, and I'm this far. It's just... I don't like Feyre as much as I like Selena. It's... I'm still enjoying it. The writing is, you know, typical Sarah J. Maas, really awesome. The characters are really good. The storyline, I see it's going in a really cool direction, but again, it's just, I don't like it as much as Throne of Glass, and I just keep, every time I read it, I just keep comparing it to Throne of Glass and, like, wishing Feyre was more like Selena, and that's just not, I mean, it's not fair to the characters, but that's what I've been doing, and so this one, I'm slowly getting through, and I thought I was going to be quickly getting through it, but that's okay. I'm working my way through it, and I will finish it, and I'll let you know what I think of it. This next one is sort of a different book for me. I don't read a lot of autobiographies. I actually listen to more autobiographies than I read them, but I'm reading Neil Patrick Harris' Choose Your Own Autobiography, and this one appealed to me so much. I really wanted to read it because, first of all, Neil Patrick Harris is just an amazing actor. He seems like a really cool guy, and the format of this book drew me in because it's the create your own adventure kind of format, and I was like, how is that going to work for an autobiography? And I will tell you that it's not as good as I thought it was going to be. Neil Patrick Harris has a really funny voice, but I don't feel like I'm really getting his true feelings. The format of the book is it's told in, what is this, the second person, so it's like you are doing such and such, and so it's really hard. I feel like there's like a wall between us and him, because he's outsourcing the feelings to somebody else. It's just sort of comes across to me as a little bit weird, and like it doesn't read like an autobiography, which I know he was going for, but I just really want to know more about how he feels. And he tells about these different situations. He just sort of presents them as a joke, and they're his real life. And some of them are really hard. Like, he has a story of his coming out in here, and he really makes a lot of jokes about it, which it seems is maybe a coping mechanism, but I don't get like the real how he felt about these certain situations in his life. The other thing that bothers me in this book is there is a lot of, not a lot, there are a few instances where he uses the opportunity of writing a book to call somebody in his life out for something that he feels he's been wronged. And I really, really don't like that. I mean, there are some instances where, yes, it was a bad thing that this person had done, and it's, you know, it's terrible, or they were really mean to him, or they were just didn't act nice, but he's in a position of power by writing this book, and it really doesn't seem fair to throw people under the bus, and that was really off-putting for me. So yes, I will see how I feel about the end of this book, but I'm, you know, kind of on the 3-star track here, possibly 2.75. Neil Patrick Harris is awesome. I don't think this was his best decision. The most recent book that I picked up, actually picked up as an audiobook first, but I'm sort of switching between audiobook and the physical copy, is Fairest by Marissa Meyer. This, if you don't know, which you probably do, is sort of a companion novel to, what is it called? It's not a companion novel, it's like an in-between mini story. What are those called? I guess it would be a lunar chronicle. Ha! Look at that. Just one chronicle. This one is the story of Lavanna, and she is the evil queen in this series. I have found it so interesting to read from her perspective and see where she comes from, and it's surprisingly she's not the most evil person in her story. I guess that makes sense because usually people, you know, project what they have what's been put onto them, and that's why she's probably evil. But whoa, this girl's gone through a lot, and it's so interesting. And I really like the audiobook of this one too, so I've been listening to it / reading it because it's a nice little small book. I can bring it with me to work, and I've been really enjoying it. So yeah, I will let you know what I think of this one. Alright guys, that is it for my recent reads and my current reads. Thank you so much for watching the video. I will try to be doing more of these types of videos. I think these work better for my schedule and just for how I think about time. I don't usually think about them in month. I think about it in month increments. So this makes a bit more sense for me, just sort of show you what I've read in the recent past, and then approximately every month I'll try to put up a video about those books and what I'm currently reading. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in my next one. Bye!